paramilitary rapid support forces in Sudan have claimed a key battlefield victory. The RSF says that they have taken the town of Kass in South Darfur. They claim to have overrun a Sudanese army brigade in the region, seizing combat vehicles and dozens of cannons as well. David Mackenzie is tracking this story for us. So, David, RSF making gains. No doubt the Sudanese military themselves are going to try to recapture some of these areas. How close are we to a civil war in this country, do you think?
Well, two separate people I've spoken to just today, one a former ambassador of Sudan to the US, another one of the most informed analysts of the country, both just called it a civil war without much prompting. So I think we are there, if not we are rapidly approaching that scenario. If you look at the way that this conflict, which started in Khartoum but has spread in what many call a worst case scenario to many far reaches of that massive country, including in Darfur, we are likely in a civil conflict, possibly a civil war. Now, that latest information coming from the Rapid Support Forces and independent sources to CNN that they have claimed battlefield victories in the southern part of Darfur. This matches extensive reporting at this point that they are making gains in Darfur. In some ways, you'd expect that the Rapid Support Force grew out of the Janjaweed militia, which back then, more than or around 20 years ago, and now is being accused of multiple human rights abuses and possible atrocities, something they deny, but the evidence is piling up. And the worries from the international actors and Sudanese is that this could just get worse. The latest I am hearing from analysts is that the RSF seems to have taken a significant portion of Khartoum. They describe the situation now being maybe a last window for some kind of negotiated peace settlement before this really becomes an all-out civil war that has the potential, of course, for devastating consequences further in Sudan, but also to spill over to neighboring states, in particular the worry is west into Chad in those border regions. But at this point, unclear that the mediation efforts by the Saudis and Americans, which have stalled now, and the proposals by the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, and others as part of the African Union will get anywhere. So the situation is not looking great, and the RSF, at least in the west of the country, appears to be consolidating its ground. Zain?
Yeah, and President William Ruto of Kenya also intervening, speaking with General al-Burhan as well. No word yet on any progress, as you point out. All attempts at peace so far have failed, obviously. David Mackenzie, live for us there. Thank you so much. Earlier, we looked at heavy fighting in the Darfur region of Sudan. While Sudan's ongoing conflict is devastating the population as a whole, women and girls are especially hit hard. One UN estimates more than 4.2 million women and girls are at risk of sexual violence. Rape is often used as a weapon of war, and you've got shame, stigma, and fear of reprisal, often discouraging the reporting of such crimes. The NGO Save the Children says that children as young as 12 are being targeted for their gender, for their ethnicity, and their vulnerability as well. Another key point for you, women are key to the food production chain. When they can't get to the farms, when they can't prepare food because of fighting, their families go without. If the mother is pregnant or nursing, the malnutrition then affects yet another generation as well. Time now for the exchange. Getting girls and women the help that they so desperately need is crucial. We're joined by UNICEF's Goodwill Ambassador, Vanessa Nakate, who is in Rwanda for us. Vanessa, thank you so much for being with us. We know the statistics on violence against women on the continent, especially during times of war. We also know how much war affects women and girls, but teenage girls are especially vulnerable. That's something that you've been looking at. Just walk us through that.
Yes, it's evident that, the rights of adults and girls are in a crisis, especially in a war. And like you've said, many young girls and women are, being exposed to sexual violence as a result of these, wars. And it makes me think about how, young girls and young women as well, we do not live single issue lives. And we find that in like wars, women and girls find themselves on the front lines. They disproportionately impacted by.
Vanessa, can you hear me? I think we're having audio issues with Vanessa.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, let me try and ask you one last question. We were having issues with your audio. We couldn't quite hear 100% what you were saying, but I'm just going to try to ask you another question. Hopefully it works. We know that across the continent, there are pretty much double the number of girls as boys who are not in any form of education or employment whatsoever. Obviously, that is heightened when there's a war going on. You have women trapped in a cycle of poverty, of violence, of war, and of so much uncertainty. What do we need to do as a whole, just in terms of the international community stepping up to the plate to ensure that adolescent girls in a place like Sudan, despite what's going on, have a future that they can fight for?
Well, first of all, it's important for the international community to understand that where there is war, where there is the climate crisis, the lives of young girls and young women are definitely in a crisis. And like I said before, young girls and young women, we do not live single issue lives. You find that the same life of a girl that is being impacted, by this war is the same girl who is not able to finish school or have access to food. So it's really important that the international community raises awareness about the impacts and how the rights of girls and young women are in a crisis, especially with a war like this.